Chris Brown wasn't on anyone's list of suspects, despite the fact that we've known for some time that many celebrities will fall with Diddy in this drama. Do not misunderstand me. Chris Brown has a long history of acting shadily toward women, but no one anticipated that he would be included on Diddy's list of shady characters. And now, the streets are claiming that Chris is linked to Diddy because of his 2009 incident with Rihanna. There is a lot of chaos going on here, and it looks like we won't ever get to the bottom of Diddy's lengthy list of accusations. Does this mean that Diddy helped Chris cover up the incident, and did he actually try to help Jay-Z pimp out? Rihanna, now let's dissect this. I am aware that the idea of Diddy and Chris Brown working together is shocking, but in retrospect, I suppose we should have recognized the warning signs. For instance, in 2009, the industry as a whole turned its back on Chris after he dumped Pauls and Rihanna. Diddy was one of the few people who stayed firmly behind Chris. In addition to supporting Chris, he also placed pressure on Rihanna to forgive and accept him back after he had put her on hold. He wasn't embarrassed to acknowledge this because he had stated the same thing about Ellen.
Talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together. Why would you give Chris, a guy who hit a girl, and he's jet skiing around in your, I don't understand, because, I mean, listen, I was a huge fan of Chris's. I love Chris, his music, he's a talented guy, but to hit a girl...
Yeah, because I know both of them, and it's my house, and I'm allowed to give my house to whoever I want to give my house to. That's number one. Number two is that I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody. And so if a friend or friends ask me for a favor, then I'm going to be there for a favor as long as I know that the energy of the favor is positive for two people to sit down and talk about a situation that they're in. I'm not going to get involved in it. I'm not going to pass judgment on it. If I could be there as a friend during hard times, then I'm going to be there as a friend.
According to what we now know, he understood that he was performing far worse than Chris was. Therefore, he was unable to cast stones. We won't even go into that crazy mess, because you all already know the terrible things Diddy has been accused of doing to women. As crazy as it sounds, Chris Brown has mistreated other women as well. Multiple women have come forward to accuse him after their relationship ended. Chris Brown went on to date Karrueche TR, but regrettably, their relationship quickly soured by 2017, as they had split up. Karrueche went to court to ask for a restraining order against him in her fiancé, alleging that during their time together, Chris had once punched her in the stomach and pushed her down the stairs. Karrueche claimed she didn't report the incident because she was afraid of the legal repercussions for Chris, who was still on probation for the Rihanna case. Later, Karrueche disclosed that things had gotten even more disturbing. Chris allegedly threatened to kill her, telling her that if he couldn't have her, no one could have that level of possessiveness and danger, which is beyond toxic. Fortunately, she found the strength to leave. But even after their breakup, Chris reportedly continued to pursue her and even her friends, which ultimately led her to file for a restraining order. Chris attempted to repair his reputation by putting on the Uhhh Act and avoiding major legal issues, but the damage had already been done. Many people simply couldn't look past his past, and for many, he's still very much canceled. He's definitely still making music and has a devoted fan base, but let's face it, he's not where he could be with his talent. He should have been on par with someone like Drake by now in 2019. After a woman accused Chris Brown of saying her at a hotel, he was arrested in Paris. He and his team denied everything, claiming that the incident was staged and that he was being unfairly singled out. In 2021, his name made headlines once more, this time for allegedly hitting a woman in the San Fernando Valley. The woman allegedly said that he slapped her so hard that her hair fell out. Do you know how hard you have to hit someone for that to happen? It's crazy. Fortunately, she wasn't seriously injured, but Chris managed to leave without getting arrested again. This is where things start to get interesting because it appears that Chris may have attended some of Diddy's freak-offs in 2022. Chris Brown got hit with another lawsuit this time from a woman who says he allegedly set her back in 2020. according to court docs filed on January 27, 2022. She claimed the whole thing went down on a yacht docked at Diddy's Miami Beach home on December 30th, 2020. And seriously, why is Diddy's name always in the mix when something shady is going on? It's like he's always at the crime scene. When creepy stuff like this happens anyway. The woman who's being called Jane Dell in the suit is a singer, dancer, model, and choreographer. She says she was on FaceTime with a friend when Chris suddenly grabbed the phone and invited her to come to the yacht himself. When she got to the yacht, everything seemed chill. At first, Chris offered her a drink, and they started talking nothing out of the ordinary. But according to her, things quickly took a scary turn. She said she started feeling really out of it, like she was drifting in and out of sleep, and began to suspect her drink had been spiked. She claims that while she was in the day state, Chris led her to a bedroom, shut the door, and despite her saying no, he allegedly kissed and said her. What made it even worse the next day, he apparently hit her up like nothing ever happened and told her to take a Plan B pill, which she did. She ended up filing a $20 million lawsuit against him for emotional distress. And for anyone wondering why she didn't report it right away, coming forward isn't easy, especially when the person you're is a huge celebrity. Her lawyers also said she was in medical school at the time and felt embarrassed and overwhelmed to nobody's surprise. In addition to denying the accusations, Chris wrote on Instagram, "I hope y'all see this pattern of cap. Whenever I'm releasing new music or projects, they try to pull some real BS," and included a photo of himself wearing a pile of caps, essentially suggesting that the case was all cap. Although the case has been ongoing since 2022, people began to question whether Diddy would have been involved in the SA case in light of the recent accusations against him, particularly since it appears that Diddy frequently spikes drinks. Not only that, but there are also rumors that Chris and Diddy may have had a brief encounter in the past. Fans believe that this is when Chris and Diddy first became involved, as Chris Brown revealed a story a few years ago that caused a lot of people to take notice when he said that Diddy had once attempted to approach him. This is the part that truly shocked people. Chris claimed that he was only 12 years old at the time. That's not exactly what you're talking about, but the funniest part is that I'm sure many people don't know if he turned me down. I was playing Watch This, and you were dancing when NR asked Chris if he had ever danced for Diddy. It seemed strange, like why a 12-year-old Chris would need to dance for Diddy at his house, and that question alone raised a lot of red flags. Fans are certain that Diddy's true motivation for not signing Chris wasn't talent at all. Rather, it appears that Diddy was more interested in other things, such as trying to get Chris involved in his so-called puffy flavor camp. However, Chris wasn't interested in that life. He saw what was happening and said, "No, let's be real." Although Diddy's decision to not sign Chris likely had nothing to do with Chris's talent at the time, when Def Jam and L.A. Reid were practically pleading with Diddy to sign him, Chris was simply considering his options. We don't know the whole story of what transpired between Diddy and Chris, but it's obvious that the two became friends over the years, which would account for Diddy's attempts to persuade Rihanna to forgive Chris. This is crazy, but I'd like to know what you guys think. So leave a comment below and watch this next video.